So now we have acquired the right pieces to do the Uber fight. So you can get these from Shaper, you can get these from the Elder, or you can just buy them from players. It's not cheap to buy them, but I'd rather just not keep on farming all of the bosses again and again. But if you want to, you can. I'm just doing this faster. So we are now going to... Oh, you can have maybe watch it too. That'd probably make it quite difficult. Anyways, don't enable that. So now we have to fight the Elder, which we just did, and the Shaper, which we just did, but at the same time, so it becomes a lot harder. There's really not too much to mention other than you fight both bosses at the same time. So both mechanics, same time. It makes the fight much more difficult. We might die in it. Recommend just bring a potion. You don't need your movement speed flask. So, oh, there is one important thing to mention. There is a purple barrier around one of them. And when there's a barrier around one of them, you can't damage them. I think it's now gray. So you can see now we can damage Shaper. Oh, there it is. It's purple. So now we damage Elder. So you can't actually hit both of them at the same time. Oh, there's the donut. We got to stay inside. Otherwise, that thing will one-shot us. There's also the orbs that do follow you, which trying to pop those in the middle. But sometimes you kind of have no choice, just because of the way it works. So my golem. We got about a third of the way down, maybe. The poor golem just melts every single time. Right, so now we gotta attack the Shaper. He's doing the slam attack, so we just gotta keep moving. But since this build has so much movement speed, it's nice. Oh, now we got hit by the what is it called? Sprouting Madness. That's really bad to get hit by. You don't want to get hit by that. Move slower. Ideally, again, remember, pop these towards the outside of the arena. Oh, he's doing his donut ability. And does donut stay in the center. Sometimes you get stuck with like what feels like an unblockable, because both of them kind of hit you at once, because you're trying to dodge so many things at once, like the Shaper beam. Again, pop these on the outside. If we can, we're actually slowed down. There we go. Now we got damn Shaper. This used to be pretty much like the hardest fight in the game. It's actually not too bad anymore. I think Maven's like the only fight for me that I'm like actually still not a huge fan of is Maven, because the memory game that she requires you to do. Now there's another one of those white balls, so we're gonna pop it on the outside. Ooh, got hit by that. See what I mean by this recommendation for not doing this exact build? So much visual clutter. So much visual clutter. Okay. Now we get another favorite map slot. Oh. He was already gone. It's kind of unfair. He was already dead. Alright. Well, it doesn't really matter. He's gone anyways.
Good.
Okay, so this is what he dropped. The most important thing is we were there for the Void Stone, so as these are marked. Ideally, I like to look for anything that I may think is worth something. There's probably a lot of different bases that are worth something. If he does drop a Watcher's Eye, I'd probably recommend to sell it. Your chances of getting a good one are pretty slim. I mean, it can happen, but yeah, it's usually pretty slim. You can also get reduced mana reservation efficiency. I believe is one of the mods. Also, any of the physical damage taken as something else can actually be pretty good, but you'd have to have some really good rolls just because it has like this. Let's see, if we put like 86 Shaper, 20C just because of this mod. Alright, well, there's one for 3C. But sometimes people like to craft on these, so keep your eye out for that. Again, PoE Awakened Trade is the name of this thing. Someone may want, you know, something just for crafting for the base. But that is the fight, and we have completed it. But there is more. So now that we've done this, because this was relatively short, we are also going to talk about doing the Conquerors. So now we are going to do the Conquerors. So as far as the Conquerors go, what we're going to do for the Conquerors, I'm going to just move all these things out of the way real quick. And we're going to need to acquire these 4 different maps. It's almost like the same thing all over again. You get these 4 maps, and then you defeat them. They each drop a piece, and then we're going to be fighting another boss. So this next boss that we're going to be fighting is called Sirus. Each one of these has a different mechanic, and we will go over those once we get to the boss fight. It's kind of like the Guardians. The map is the same, but the boss fight is a little bit different. So we're going to just fast forward to the bosses, and we're going to do all of the Conquerors. So once you kill the normal map boss, there's going to be a portal. You're going to open up the portal. So this one has Baron. So there's going to be these squares, and we don't want to stand inside of the squares when they are lit up. We might just do too much damage. We might kill them before we even see the squares. So those are the squares. There we go. Man, our damage is just too good. But they can also drop items. If you know which items have a good base for certain rolls, I mean, I like Drox's rolls because we get the crit strike chance as well as additional curse. But some of these can be valuable, so look up them if you want to. I'm kind of too lazy to do it. But that was Baron. Okay, coming up to the next one. But I probably should have mentioned, in the other boss fight, he does do a slam attack. So when he raises his staff, walk away. I accidentally killed him too fast. Alright, so this one, he has a fist that will go down straight in a line. He also summons these banners, but... Okay, our damage is way too high. So there's a fist. Okay, good. You at least got to see the fist come up. It's a gold fist. It's pretty big. Occasionally there will be these little banners. You can still damage him during this. Our damage is just too high. I'm going to try to let him maybe spawn it in. I mean, there we go. There's a banner. You'll see... Those fists, by the way, can go in a line, and they can just be a giant one. Our damage, like I said, too good, so... yeah, but you can still do this. Even if you don't want to do the build where we're having all these linked skills with Mana-Forged arrows, you can literally just do this with Lightning Arrow. The DPS difference is really not that big, because I don't even have the cooldown reduction boots yet, which they're kind of expensive. But yeah, that was Drox. So the last one was the Barons. So we're going to have to just again collect 4 pieces, and we're going to combine them all for the Megazord very soon. But that was Drox. Alright, we're going to defeat the boss. I'm going to go ahead and end the Delirium. Map. There's so much visual clutter. Okay, so this is the ice one. And with this boss fight... Oh, I have actually immunity to damage. So she'll summon a circle, and you want to stand inside of the circle. Like, if I go over here, I will take damage, normally. Oh, no, our damage is too high. Okay. So, she will put these little circles on the floor, which she can shoot out icicles. You want to move out of the way when that happens. These bosses are pretty easy, though, to be honest. It's not going to be something super hard. But I figured I would mention that because it is important as a guide. So, yeah, she has a move where she will shoot a bunch of, like, ice shards that will come up out of the ground from the side. Basically, when she goes away, just keep on moving. You'll see these little circles. Just don't stand in them. It will make you take damage, but our damage is so high at this point. Yeah, we just destroyed the boss. But that's basically the mechanic. Don't stand on the outside where she will be able to deal damage with you with the little like ice hurricane storm. But that's basically for Tanya. Right, coming up to Alhez. So he will summon a bunch of these snakes. And there's sometimes where you want to be on the outside, sometimes you want to be on the inside. Ideally, you want to stand behind him. Our damage is so high. I'm going to stop attacking him so I can show you guys how he works, hopefully. So when this happens, don't stand in the pit. You will take damage. There's another time where you want to stand in the center. So when the snakes are in the center, you don't stand in the center. And there's times where there's snakes will go all around the side, and then you want to stand in the inside. So it's kind of like a reverse in terms of like where you actually want to stand. Now for his items, I do know that like if you get any chest piece and you roll specifically, because it's the exact same thing I have, you want attacks have crit strike chance and or apply additional curse. You can sell those for additional currency. You can also, if you happen to have physical damage from hits taken as chaos damage, that's another really great roll. That thing can be okay for certain builds, as some builds take no chaos damage, and that's basically just 11% physical damage reduction. So think about that. We got another armor piece over here. Let's see if that one of those rolls physical chaos again. Some of these just as the base. If it has other good effects, like life regen is probably not really worth it. But if it has like maybe int, maybe life, sometimes nowadays people will look for items with no life on them. For a trust piece, normally you wouldn't, but now with the new change, with this current patch, you can get like 15% more life with 1 point. But yeah, this can be worth something. Again, if it happens to have good rolls plus this, like you can see, this one isn't really worth anything. Let's see. If I use this, yeah, this one's not really worth anything. This one's probably not worth anything. It has to have like multiple things to roll correct on it. For example, this one has like 69 LE resistances, and the damage taken. This could, okay, this might be worth 10 chaos, but like realistically, I don't see it being worth it. But it also depends on the base of the item, in addition to the rolls and how high they roll. So keep that in mind as well. But now that we've collected all 4 pieces, we got another boss to fight. And this one is actually quite a tough boss fight if you're playing melee, but we're not. So we're okay. So let's go ahead and now do Sirus or Sirus. All right, it is now time to do Sirus. Now, one thing that I would recommend you guys to do is make sure you guys are Chaos Res capped. I just bought this quiver for 30 Chaos Orbs. It just happens to have a lot of Chaos Res. My last one actually had more attack speed, so it shows that it does more damage, but this actually will do more damage because we are over capped on our attack speed because of the cooldown that we don't have reached. But that's okay. It's totally fine because, again, the Maven boots are really expensive, and to keep this like budget friendly, yeah, we just didn't get those boot upgrades. So just a bow, happens to have some elemental damage on it. Nothing too special really with this. It just happens to have chaos resistance. I swapped out some flasks because we don't need the movement speed flask. I always recommend Forbidden Taste with the what is it? Use when you take a savage hit, and then also decide to pick up a sulfur flask. If you have the currency, you can get a bottle of faith, which in theory is kind of better in a sense, but it's like way more expensive. It's basically one divine. If you happen to have the currency, you can get it. The reason why is because this boss, I don't really necessarily need either one of these. This was originally used because I didn't have my Chaos Res capped, but you're not going to be able to keep it up the whole time. It does give us, in theory, more damage, but I'm already Chaos Res capped, which is like basically the main reason why I want it. So let's go ahead and do Sirus. Now this boss fight is not easy. So if you die during the first few times you fight this boss, don't worry. It's very normal. It's got a lot of mechanics. So the first thing that I'll mention is when you hear him say die, or make sure you have in the options like I think it's like a UI. It's like you can see it's under like gameplay, monster icons. There's one setting that you can turn on that shows like enemy chat or something like that. What is it under? There is it under sound? Chat alerts. Okay, here we go. There's disable gameplay event voices. Do not check that. I don't know if it's enabled by default, but when he says the word die, keep moving. That's the most important thing with this boss fight. Other than that, though, there's a lot of stuff to explain, but that's the most important thing. Because we're not playing melee. Melee is terrible in Path of Exile for this boss fight. This is one of the worst boss fights if you are melee. But since we're ranged, we're just going to rapidly shoot everything, and it's going to be a smooth thing.
Perhaps the suffering of my fellow citizens will finally stir some.
Okay, so now we're going to go into the portal. So at the start of the fight, you'll see these tornadoes. Don't stand in them. They will do damage to you. So we're going to go over here in between these, and we're going to go right under the boss to actually fight this guy, because he's floating up in the air with his chair. To actually damage him, we need to go under him. And then now he is here. Keep moving. When he says the word die, you want to make sure you are moving. Pretty much just move and shoot, you'll be a-okay. So at some point he'll start pushing you. And then now you have to find him again. He's right here, but these tornadoes will move. When there's these little spikes, don't stand on them. They will do damage. We need to get under him. I think we can get under right there. Okay. You can see how fast you melt instantly when you stand under the tornado. There's a strategy where he's kind of on the edge. You just risk it. Don't do that if it's your first time. I just wanted to see how much damage it would actually do to us. And it melts quite fast. I have no mobility ability, which is kind of risky, but let's go ahead and defeat him. So this is something that can be difficult to re-enter the arena, because there's a bunch of just stuff on the ground, and he'll just keep on doing abilities. He's actually kind of a mean boss. So we'll wait for those to go away. Just attacked us. So when he shoots these fireballs, you can move left and right. He basically shoots them left, right. So you just keep on moving. When he says die, you want to just move. Our damage is actually pretty good right now. But now he's pushing us away again with his little, like, wind. We have to, again, go under him. Sometimes you just gotta wait. This is like one of the more annoying things with the boss, is you have to just wait for the little black tornadoes to move out of the way. But you can see there's basically a little circular arena. But he's relatively fair. Oh, I didn't want to get hit by the bottom stuff, so I walked in the opposite direction that he was pushing me in. So that's also bad. But again, I'm just trying to show you guys all the mechanics, because some of the other fights, we just started killing them too fast. This guy, I don't think I'll kill super fast to the point where he can't even do an ability. So we're gonna find him again. He's right under us. Resummon our golem, so it'll be at full HP. So you can see how he's kind of under. Don't risk it. I risked it last time. I've already wasted a couple portals to show you guys. But sometimes, yeah, you just gotta wait for them. So don't stand on those. Unfortunately, I don't know if we're gonna bleed out from our taste of hate. Okay, pretty low on HP. As long as we can get under him. Okay, so now we're gonna try to get under him if we can. Unfortunately, he's still over here. It's kind of annoying sometimes, this boss, to be honest, to try to get under him, because it can take sometimes more time than others. Sometimes you get lucky. It's honestly one of the more annoying boss fight mechanics, I would say, in the game. But it is kind of a skill thing, but sometimes he just is in an area where you just can't instantly get to him. And also having a no mobility definitely doesn't make this boss fight easier. There he is. So see, did we get him? No, it's not considered under him. There we go. Guess it was. So when he puts you inside this little crater, you look for the little, like, exit here, and you can see the little, like, thing will point you. If you stand in the middle, you will take a lot of damage. So this is where he has lots of different clones. Oh, he just died real easy. Okay. So, unfortunately, I think we did kill them too fast. These gloves are actually really cool. Oh, we have some extra room here that needs to be made. Oh, this thing's worth nothing. So he can drop a bunch of different Conqueror items, but the thing that he drops that's unique to him are these gloves. Now, these gloves are kind of cool because you can get insane modifiers on them. So what are they worth if they're unidentified? They're only 20 chaos, so I will show you guys what you can do with them. If they're really expensive, I would recommend you guys to sell them. He drops a couple cool items, but these gloves can be modified while they are corrupted. You can get up to 5 implicit modifiers. Ideally, usually, like right now we have cursed enemies with elemental weakness on hit. But if you can get cursed enemies with this, it starts getting really good. Plus they have like okay stats to give us, oh, ours actually rolled okay with, oh no, you can get up to 12% life, so these rolled terribly. But I'll go ahead and use the Vault Orbs just so you guys can see what you can do with these. But to explain the boss fight, there are more mechanics. We just, unfortunately, I guess we actually did too much damage to him. But there are mechanics where when he's summoning a bunch of these clones, like he'll flash once, that's the real one. But if you're playing a ranged build, you just kind of shoot in the direction. He's going to take the damage. It's not that big of a deal. But if you're playing melee, you do have to watch out for which one's the real Sirus, and you got to move out of the way. There is a rotating cross that will basically spin in terms of its damage. You just kind of don't get hit by it, if that makes any sense. So it's kind of like an X or a cross, and it rotates as a laser beam, and you just move in between. But that's the mechanics for Sirus. Now that we've defeated him, we can get, I guess it launches us back over here. We'll go back to our hideout, and that will be the end of Sirus. But once you do complete him, you will get another, I think my face is out in the way here, but you get another favored map slot by defeating Sirus. But now that we've defeated him, I told you I'd show you the special thing with these gloves. So you can keep on ball orbing these, basically. So let's see if we get something. Okay, so it did nothing, so it has no implicit. Now we got plus socket of aura gems. Is this good enough? Well, let's go check out and see what these gloves would sell for with the socket of aura. That's already 50 chaos. Because what people would normally do, and these are like pretty decent gloves, the thing is they rolled really low for life. Now, do I want to sell these? I'm going to go risk it a little bit more. Let's keep on going. Nope, I bricked them. They're worth absolutely probably nothing now. But it depends on what item that you get. Like this one has int. The strength is okay. It might be actually not too bad because a lot of people will be running something that requires you to have a lot of attributes. And because it has some attributes, it's got aura gems. Maybe someone will want it. Let's go ahead and just throw it in here, and I'm just going to list it. I mean, if I get 50 Chaos Orbs for it, it's not that bad. But those gloves are a big gamble. If you want to mess around with them, they are kind of fun. But that is Sirus defeated, and we pretty much only have one final boss, which is the Maven. So, ideally what we would do, and I'm going to reserve, I guess, Maven for like the last part of the series here, because I'm going to need to get some of the things required to actually fight Maven, which are these splinters. We need to collect 10 of these splinters, and then we can actually fight the Maven. Maven's actually one of the most difficult bosses in the game for many, many reasons. Specifically, it's the game that you have to play with these little memory mechanics. But we'll talk more about that in a moment. But we've defeated almost all of the bosses in the game. After this, we've basically conquered Path of Exile for the most part. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed it, drop a like on your way out, and I'll see you guys in the next part very soon.